Laura and friends. I'm so excited to welcome this week's guest. It's going to be a lot of business, informative, and how to turn your art into dinero and the back end of the entertainment and industry. So, we welcome to the show Robert Schwartz, who is a man of many hats, CEO of Who Magazine TV and Publishing. He a film producer, TV producer, music distribution, so many things. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Laura.
Uh, so there's so much to go into. So if you are in the world of music, film, casting, you want to be in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, you're just going to get so many gems today. Rob, just kind of taking it back, we're going to do a little bit of overview of the highlights of your just such accomplished career and some exciting things coming up that you are doing for the city, which is really iconic and so super excited about. So you started out, you went to the University of the Arts here in Philadelphia. And from there, after you graduated, your first job, you worked at Polygram Records in New York City. So that's really exciting. And you worked in the distribution lane of the record label. For those of us who, don't come from that world, I say this all the time, until you move into careers and lanes where you kind of get a window into the backside of things, you don't know. You just turn on the radio or pop MTV on and jam out to your favorite song, but you don't really think, how did those songs get on MTV and how did those songs get to Walmart or FYE or wherever you go to consume them. And that's where distribution comes in. So can you talk to us a bit about that process and just what attracted you to that end of the industry?
Sure. So right out of college, my college professor, he's when they hooked me up with Polygram. And initially, I was supposed to be at the A&R department for Islands as the assistant to the A&R at that time. And I was super excited. I thought this was like a dream come true job. But I forgot Island Record has a lot of rock music. And I wasn't really into rock music. U2 was signed to Island Records. I thought I'd be listening to like reggae music all day. So they put me with a bunch of the rock demos. And I was there for about 3 days, just listening to demos all day. And my boss never really came in. And it was really a situation where, I was traveling 2.5 hours back and forth each way every day from Cherry Hill to New York. And as much as it was a dream job come true, and I wanted to work at Polygram Records, I felt like this isn't the way I thought it would be. So I went to HR and I said, hey, is there anything else available? And they really just laughed in my face. They're like, you gotta be kidding me, right? I'm like, I'm not. So they're like, well, there's something in distribution, but you're not going to want it. I'm like, why? They said it's just stuff in envelopes and making photocopies all day. And I know that's not what you want to do. And I'm like, well, what type of music is it? And they're like, yeah, it's mostly hip hop music. I was like, I'll take it. So that's what got me into it. And what's funny is I can actually show you real quick. When I was at Polygram, when I was at ILS, so I worked at the company ILS Distribution. We put out like Jay-Z's first record. Like this is the stuff we used to make up.
Wow.
Founded. Brian McKnight, Showbiz and AG, Beanie Man. Like we brought Beanie Man to America. Like this is the stuff that we used to do. So, and yeah, the job was it was pretty boring, basic, but I loved it. It was
Dougie Fresh. You're right.
Blase, Jay with the Damager, Group Home, Beanie Man, and of course Jay-Z's first single In My Lifetime. So it was like my day would consist of sitting by a copy machine all day. On Mondays, copy for the first half of the day, the second half I'm stuffing envelopes. Tuesday back then was new release day, so we would call all the mom and pop stores to make sure that all the product came in.
And back in the day, MTV was like sister to sister with that, because Tuesday also used to be the day to release new music videos, and
Tuesday,
they would hype that up on the countdown shows, and artists and their management would like angle to get their video premiered on different dates, and like there was a whole mega like business and wrangling with the release of music videos, which it's like that time's kind of past. But I remember like they used to make commercials. Oh, this video is debuting on this, and you would also see advertising. Oh, such and such songs being released from such a, like you go to the record store or whatever, or you go around town and you'd see flyers promoting and hyping up that these artists are Tuesday, the new stuff, and you'd run down to the store and listen, and have your preview. And it was a whole thing then.
Yeah, well, Tuesday was new release day. Wednesday, we had them out promo items. Thursday, we would call all the mom and pops again just to see, hey, how is the record selling? Did you sell out? Do you need to send you more? And Friday was our mail out day, and then back again. So that was distribution back then. Now, my distribution company, Humag Distribution, has been out since 2010 is when we started it. So it's been out for 13 years. We have over 1,000 artists. We got a Grammy. We got multiple #1 Billboard records.
Can you bring the Grammy up closer so we can look at it?
So my Grammy, this is the thing people laugh at. My Grammy is for Mr. Rogers. Best children's album. Yeah, best Mr. Rogers. Yep. So
wow.
There's my name on it. Yeah. So I have an official Grammy. A bunch of #1 Billboard records. The way the Grammys work, by the way, they only give out one Grammy. Everyone else gets a certificate. So everyone gets a trophy. There's only one trophy. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Rogers has it. So anyway, I got the paper, which is fine. It's still cool. I got the paper. But yeah. So we have 1,000 artists, 300 labels under our distribution. I love distribution because to me I can't sing, I can't rap, I can't play an instrument. I write music. I've written for some pretty big artists, but that's about as far as it gets me. And so, and that's the one thing, like I'm doing this music conference, and part of it is like, even though I wanted to be a songwriter and that was my career I wanted to do.
And you actually worked with LaFace Records for a period of time, which is just so amazing. I mean, for those of you who lived under a rock and don't know who LaFace is, L.A. Reid and Babyface, and they crafted the careers of so many icons like Toni Braxton, Whitney Houston. Let me see who else off the top. Brandy, Usher, like so many icons.
Yeah, so I worked with selected artists under LaFace, and then from there, it didn't work out the way I wanted to, and that's when I kind of fell into finance. Because when I went into finance, I went through a really tough financial patch. I moved to LA, expecting to break it big. It didn't quite happen. Fell on my face. My fraternity brother Tommy got me a job on Wall Street. I took it. Within 3 months, I realized how much I missed the music industry. I started a website.
Sometimes we gotta pivot.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing about the with the distribution, and even when I'm throwing this conference, is because as much as I want to be a songwriter, there's so much money and there's so many ways to make a career in this music industry outside of what you want. I mean, like I'm involved with music all day long, and so I do, and I love it. But I'm not writing music, but I'm doing everything else, and it's the best decision I made. I was in finance for 10 years. I worked on Wall Street. I quit to do this full time. Because I don't want to have bosses anymore. I was miserable, and I listen to music all day. I talk to artists all day. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this conference too, is because I want some of my artists to come, and if they are struggling, to understand, hey, this is going to give you advice to help your career, but also there's all these other cool things you could do in the music industry if you wanted to, that you can make a career. So if you hate your 9-to-5 job, there's 9-to-5 jobs in the music industry, and I'm trying to expose some of those positions as well. So who knows? Who may get encouraged to jump in a different lane.
Right. So now the distribution, that's the process of getting, I mean, now a lot of stuff is digital, but before that, that's like getting the records, the singles, the cassettes to the radio stations, the TV stations, and getting them on board with putting it in rotation.
Mhm. Distribution is basically getting it into the stores, to get into
Oh,
rotation,
okay, into the
radio.
stores.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's more promotion. So promotion, marketing, distribution, they're all separate entities. So when you signed to a major label back in the day, they used to have something called A&R.
Mhm.
A&R rep. In A&R, people think A&R just signs people. A&R does a lot more too. A&R teaches you how to speak in interviews. They teach you how to dress. There's all these other things too, and they kind of like
How
hand
to
hold.
market yourself,
Yeah, and
your
then
image.
they teach you how to do it, but then they have their separate marketing companies, their separate promo companies, their separate distribution. So what we do is we do distribution. You know,
Mhm.
there's marketing companies, there's promo companies, there's everything. But we focus on just, and we do help with some of our promo stuff. I own 3 music TV networks. We help break our songs on FM radio in Philly. We help with I'm a voted member of the Grammys. We do a lot of different things that we can help our artists out. We do showcases and conferences. So anyway, we can help our artists, we do. But at the end of the day, we are not a marketing and promo company. And the reason why we aren't is because if you hire a promo company, say we become your promo company, you pay us two, three, four, $5,000 to promote your record, and I'm also the guy cutting your check for
Mm.
distribution. You make 45 cents. I mean, how does that make me look? So to me,
Yeah,
I've never been money driven. I'm reputation driven. So to me, my reputation is what drives my distribution. You can't
right.
just get to me. We only take referrals only. There's no advertisements running. You won't see sign up for Humac distribution. Click here. You don't. I don't do that. We only
Mm.
accept people through referrals because I initially got my deal. My first record was Just Ice and KRS-One. Just Ice is a really good friend of mine. He created gangster hip hop, so he's a real good friend of mine. So we had the DP. We got that's what started my distribution, and I got the offer because Just Ice was a friend of mine, and I wasn't trying to make a business. I was just trying to look out for our friends. Next thing you know, is more friends of mine knew I had distribution. They were coming to me. So to me, even though now we have 1,000 artists signed to us, they all came referred through somebody else. And the people just can't randomly find me because I get emails all day about signing up and I don't answer any of them. Somebody has to say, yo, Rob, my friend wants to sign up. I recommend him. And that's how the conversation starts. My next step at that point is even before I listen to the music, I talk to the person because my
Mhm.
distribution is like a family here. Like everyone gets to know each other, hang out, do things together. So I have to make sure like they're good people. I don't want to have any problems. I don't want to hate what I do. I love what I
Exactly.
do. So then if I like the person, then we go into the music. Like I
And you have to be on the same page, how you do business together, your approach, and have good communication. And the person has to be also open to, constructive feedback. Because if you're all like stubborn and closed off and stuff, it's not going to work.
yeah. So we're a lot different than like how do you compare to TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid? We're night and day. Like they're do it yourself. If anyone can do it, and that's what you want, go. Because that's what the service you're going to get. You can't talk to anybody. My phone
Mhm.
rings all day long. I was here for 14 hours yesterday. I was here for 14 hours the day before. I'll probably be here for 14 hours again tonight, working on the conference and hit on distribution stuff. I talked to all of my clients. They all have my personal cell phone number. We have
Mhm.
a way bigger delivery than any of the other distributors since we deal with the top company. So we do a lot of different things. So we're way different. But what people like most is that you can call me. And that's why people come
Yeah.
over, they never leave distribution. That's why we get so many referrals.
So now, of course, we're talking about earlier in your career where because the music industry is totally different now than it was 10, 15 years ago,
Mhm.
where a lot of the strategy was getting your distribution in stores. But now that a lot of people consume, I don't have all the business stats, but a lot of people consume their music more now digitally.
Mhm.
So how's that look like now, where you target, and how you distribute, since people consume the music more now digitally than in store?
Well, it changes the entire strategy. And that's the problem is a lot of people don't think about that. They do is they stick to
Mhm.
their old original method. I mean, you have to think that there's like 60,000 new records every single day on Spotify. So you're one of 60,000. Now, say you're the best out of 60,000. this doesn't mean 60,000 people are going to hear it, because the people who are going to win are the ones that are promoting it, because they have to outshine the other 59,999. So that's the problem, is people think I make a great song, I'll be a millionaire, everyone's going to love it. But really, making music is 10%, 90% is the marketing and the promotion. To get, when people tell me I'm in the studio all day making songs, I tell them to stop. Make one hit. Just make one hit and put it out. Now, the thing that sucks nowadays is that Spotify, Tidal, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Pandora, did nothing but a search engine and the algorithm. And that's what it is. So you have to understand how to trick the algorithms. The way Spotify works, they have something called monthly listeners. So after 3 weeks, your monthly listeners start to fall off. So they want you to drop a new record every 2, 3, or 4 weeks. And if you I'm gonna put 10 songs in an album every year, like people used to do back in the day, after 2 or 3 weeks, your album algorithm's dead, and
it burns out.
That's it. So the strategy is you need to release something every 3 weeks, every 3 or 4 weeks, drop something new. If you want to do an album, drop 4 or 5 singles off at first, then drop the album with those songs in the album. So your monthly listeners stay on board, and that's how you pop up in the release radars and all that kind of stuff like that. So people get to hear you more organically. So.
And it's really also changed the way it's decided what's considered like a #1 Billboard hit. Now streams are incorporated. It used to just be flat units. So a diamond album meant just that, 3 times platinum, 1 million units sold times 3. Now it's like they incorporate so many streams equals this and that, and there's all these different parts that factor into a #1 Billboard hit.
Well, the difference too is like back with the A&R, labels had budgets they put behind artists. So what they were looking for is an incredibly talented artist that fits the look, fits the sounds, and the labels were willing to invest money to make that record work. Now the labels don't care about that. They're going to look at your social media numbers. They're going to see if you how your YouTube views look. They want to see if you're already making money. Now, if you're already making money, they'll sign you and put money on top of you, because they know they'll make it back. It's an investment at that point. You can be the best artist in the world. If you have no listeners, no followers, no YouTube views, nothing, you're not going to sign you, because it's a risk to them, because they don't have the money to build it. And the problem is now these labels aren't looking for a lot of longevity artists. The turnover is so quick. And I think a part of it is, it's not the fault of the labels. It's because it's technology makes technology. So technology moves every year. Technology moves quicker and quicker and quicker. So now we're at a point where anyone could buy a laptop. Anyone could make a track on some cracked software. Anyone could be a producer. Anyone could rap or sing on a microphone on a laptop. Anyone can make songs. Anyone could go to a DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, and distribute a record. So now you're competing with people that have absolutely no experience, that recorded stuff in their house, and their records are getting more streams and views, and people are going to professional studios because and here's the thing too, as we get older, and you see a lot of kids, younger artists winning. The reason why is because they're surrounded by 300-400 people every day in school. So it's easier to promote when you're surrounded by 300-400 people every day versus someone like me and you, who maybe we see 2 or 3 a day if we're lucky.
Right. And back in the day, you used to have street teams, and people would be on the ground handing out flyers, getting the buzz out. And then too, in that time period, it's like you felt more of a connection with the artist. I'm so glad that you really going into the history and importance of A&R. I've talked about this many times in different ways. I feel it's just so frustrating with this new crop of artists. They're not being taught how to communicate. They're not being taught what social media, PR, and how all those parts move together, even in interviews, and how you reach out to people and follow up and emails. Those things are valuable. Like if you're a show of a certain level, you don't want to deal with someone who's talking, sloppy and slangy and, fragment sentences and all this stuff, and not really reading the emails and sending you what you're asking for, making your work harder because they weren't trained. If you're going to be an artist and you want to be more than a flash in a pan, you also have to have the soft skills, the interpersonal, and that can make a difference on whether or not someone wants to book you. Like
every
how
day, every single day I get hit up with someone saying, let's work. every single day. And guess what? Every single time I hit up, I never answer.
I'm
I get
like,
that.
how about let's
Let's go.
approach with clear thoughts, a
Yeah, and I
complete
get those that
sentence.
say, "Hey, you gotta go. What do you do? Hit me up. Hey, what do you do?" Like I'm gonna answer that. Like you obviously
Right.
on a computer or a phone. You can't just Google me while you're there and find out. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that the new generation is getting lazy because they see so many people out there. Where before it was so hard to get to the labels that if you were to have the opportunity, you would become extra prepared because you know how hard you work to make that connection. Where now you could just go online and just hit up a bunch of people that work in the industry with a canned email, copy and paste text. And again, even if you do that, at least make it sound like you're kind of outreach individually, like put my
Right.
something.
It's like curtail it to the person that you're talking to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like business etiquette and communication. It's such a huge a part of being successful, building up relationships. Like so much of your success and things you've shared with us, it's about relationships
It's all
and
relation.
relationships come from communication, showing respect, like you
Mhm,
said, researching the people that you're talking to, that
mhm.
you hope that are going to want to do business with you. Approach them in a respectful, like educated, knowledgeable way, and not just, hey, yo, man, hey, I'm awesome. I saw you here. Do something for me. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way.
Yep.
And back in the day, like if you're looking at Motown and Hitsville, USA, and the major labels, they would sit down, and even with the boy bands like NSYNC and all that, they would sit down. This is a press run. This is how you deal in long interviews, short interviews. This is how you talk about in capsule the points of the album and this and that. And at the end of the day, I feel you get more promotion, more return if you actually take the time to prepare with what you're doing. But sadly, like you said, a lot of the labels, when music changed and went to digital, and a lot of these record labels lost a lot of income stream, and then they cut all these positions to try and pivot and stay alive. But I feel it was really a detriment to the artists, and for people like ourselves who work in the other sides of the industry, it just creates so many unnecessary headaches because these people just aren't being educated on how to approach in the business end, which is so important.
Yep.
So now, you also mentioned you have your own recording studio as well, which you opened in 2010, Automax Studios. So the thing that I love about you, Rob, is you really have your footprint in so many lanes of
Yeah.
giving the artist what they need.
So just to be clear, the studio is my partners, Mr. Mig. The two of us
Oh, okay.
went to high school together. We're best friends. When I decided October 9th, 2009, when I decided to leave the financial world, um, Meg, my partner, had an opportunity to open a studio in Cherry Hill. So he called me up first and said, "Hey, Rob, I got this opportunity. I only do it if you do it with me." I'm like, "Yo, let's do it." So January 2010, we opened up Audio Max. So he runs the studio. I did at that point, I was big into the music videos, the TV. I had Humag TV at that time. That was one of the biggest urban hip hop TV shows in the world. So we worked together, but on different capacities. And then I launched my TV networks and I started the music
Mm,
distribution company. So it was like between me and him, we were pretty much did a lot of stuff that the major labels do,
right.
So, and then after 7 years, they decided to sell the building. So we moved to Blackwood where we are now. We've been here for about 5 years. So, but we're still together, still my best friend. We still work together. We love it.
Aw.
So, yeah, Audio Max Studios, Humag, Multimedia, we've been together for 13 years.
And Humag, you started the first hip hop website that really catered to the music videos and the DVD. And you had the first hip hop DVD to get placed in Walmart and Blockbuster and Netflix.
Mhm.
And then you set the bar that many Yeah, there it is.
Blockbuster sticker. It was the only hip hop DVD in Blockbuster. It was under special interest. If you see the SI, special interest, it was next to a Jane Fonda workout DVD and a cooking DVD. And there was Humeg. So yeah. So when we started the first hip hop network to feature original video content. And by doing that, what I mean by that is when we launched, I had a camera. You know, I was a very expensive camera. So I used to do a lot of interviews. So YouTube wasn't even out yet. So we used to film, host our own. We weren't hosting other people's content. It was our content. We're the first one to do that with humag.net. But then 2005 is when we switched to the DVD format. And we're the first ones to put hip hop at Netflix when Netflix was the mailer Netflix. But we're the first ones to put hip hop at Netflix and Blockbuster, Walmart, Target, Best Buy. And then from there, 2007, we switched it to a TV show. And we started in Europe in 120 million households on Sky TV. And then we launched on a few other international networks before I can get it picked back up in the United States. So we hit a bunch of small channels, New York, Philly, Vegas, Delaware. Like we're a lot of smaller networks. But once my show got picked up in 2009 on Colors TV, which is the first national network in the US, that's when I quit the day job and never looked back.
And you said, now this is popping.
I'm done. I'm making just as much money I am on my own doing music. Everyone's always like, oh, you're still doing that hip hop thing? I'm like, yeah, but I'm making more money and having more fun and enjoying life more than you are. It's not about money. I'm not really a money-driven person. To me, it's about happiness. Yes. And I loved what I did. And I was so miserable. I mean, the dream job that some people was working on Wall Street. I've been there, done that. It's miserable. I was around miserable people all day long. You know, everyone was trying to save their job. Everyone's blaming everybody else. And I'm a positive person. And to me, the energy was it was crushing me there. So I just like to follow my passion. And I figured I had to do it and pay my bills following it. And to me, as long as I can pay my mortgage, you know, I don't need to be rich. I don't need to have a lot of money. As long as I can get through and do what I have to do and do what I love, that's what I did. So I left the world to do that and never look back.
And it's an awesome feeling to be able to work with the artists that you love. And every day is just stimulating and doing something different. There's always some monotony, but you know, that's the nature of business, you know, the unglamorous stuff. But you know, to be able to provide business and resources for the artists that you love, and be surrounded by that talent, which is just fills your spirit and like gets you up in the day to go out there.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is like I grew up on hip hop. Like I was a weird kid. Everyone thought I was this weird kid because he's this little white kid from Cherry Hill, listening to like Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and all these old school. People thought I was weird. Run DMC came out, like changed my life. And here it is years later. Like I'm friends with these guys. They're signed to me. I talk to a lot of these artists every day. I mean, Kango Kid was one of my best friends. You know, he passed away last year. Nucleus, Jam On It was one of the first records I ever bought. They're my people. So like Mikey D's one of my best friends. Fam of the Beat from UMC's I talk to every single day. So Just Ice I talk to every single day. So I get to talk to like my legends, but they're my friends now. So it's a whole different.
It's so amazing, right?
It's weird, but it's so cool. And sometimes I forget about it. Like that little Rob.
Yes.
Knowing that I have plaques from these people, you know?
Right? I mean, I'm singing your song. I relate to you on like the spirit level because now I listen to the radio and I'll be like, "Ooh, she was on my show. Oh, Dion. Oh, you know, you hear your John Paul. You're like, oh, I got to interview him. You know, when you listen to the music or you watch MTV or whatnot, you're like, hey, I actually got to spend time with that person. It's just a whole different feeling that unless you're in it, you don't understand that like little thrill and joy, and just being able to, you know, learn some of their journeys and experiences is just such a blessing.
And the thing about it too, like I've interviewed some of the biggest artists in the world. I interviewed Pitbull, I interviewed Rob Thicke, I interviewed Katy Perry, I interviewed John Legend.
Yeah,
I interviewed everybody.
Robin Thicke.
Yeah, my favorite interviews. Fat Joe. My favorite interviews are like Nucleus, you know, Kango Kid, who's been on my show a million times. But like my guys that I'm friends with, I grew up like idolizing these artists. So it's interesting, it's interesting because when people say, what's the best interview you did? Like they're expecting me to drop those big names, but and don't get me wrong, like Pitbull was a super cool interview. Like I'm not saying Robin Thicke was really, really cool interview. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not
Yeah.
like that, but what meant the most to me were the ones that I grew up idolizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, one of my faves was Dionne Warwick,
Yeah.
because I grew up. Me and my dad had lots of memories listening to her, and I lost my dad 3 years ago. So when I had her on my show, it was about a year after he passed. So that one was really special to me. Besides that, she's just an icon. But
Yeah.
he introduced me to Dion, and through Dion, I found my love for Whitney Houston. So I just had a lot of memories, listen to her songs together. And like you said, it's great when you're able to have connection with artists that were part of your tapestry as you were finding yourself and the things that you love and that resonate with you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So now you're also a film director
Mhm.
and a TV producer. So
Mhm.
our listeners might remember growing up was one of my favorite dance shows. I was all about seeing the new moves and steps and whatnot. So Dance Party USA and Dancing on Air, taking it back, which was based here in Philly. It's funny. I watched it for years as I was a teenager, but I didn't realize it was based in Philly
Yeah.
until years later. And you also have your own film production company as well. So, can you talk to us a bit about, your segue into film producing and TV, and just what you love about producing film and TV versus music?
Yeah. I completely backdoored the whole system because what I was doing was I was just started. So I had the website, we
Mhm.
started doing interviews with different artists. And then I put that DVD out. And the purpose of the DVD was I had an investor that wanted to put money up and invest in WhoMag. WhoMag was initially going to be a magazine. It never was because this investor was supposed to put money up to turn it into one. So with the investment package I put together, that's when I put this DVD together as an extra to show you, hey, this is some of the video stuff we do. And kind of found out the investor was bluffing the whole time. Then I was stuck with this DVD. I didn't know what to do with it. So there was this book I found, and I was like, I didn't have a whole lot of money at that time. I remember going to Barnes and Noble. I used to go every single week and read Billboard magazine, read it and put it back on the shelf. And one week there was this book just sitting there, and it was like a list of all the record labels. It was like $40 for this book, but at the very end it was the distribution companies for DVDs. So I bought the book, and I made the DVDs up, mailed to every single one in it, and out of like 70 or 80, like 2 picked it up. And because of the
Wow.
two, that's what got it into Blockbuster, Walmart, Target, Netflix.
Right.
Um, and it became huge.
Guys, it doesn't matter who says no. What
It's
matters
not-
is who says yes and what you
Never give
do
up
with that
on it.
yes.
Never give up. So then after this got so big, and this was so big overseas too. It was big in the US, but it was huge overseas. That's when funny, this guy named Skip, I haven't talked to in years. He actually reached out to me last week for the first time in years. I had a nice conversation. I told him I was to drop his name. Skip had Cool TV, and that's what got me into Europe. And he said, can you make it to a TV show? And I had no idea how to make a TV show. And I told my camera guy, I was like, yo, I got this offer to make WhoMag a TV show. And he was moving to Vegas at that time. So he just told me that. I'm like, damn. I was all right, come by my house and install Final Cut on my computer. He's like, Rob, you'll never learn this. I'm like, dude, I sat with you for like a year and watched you do everything. I used to produce music. I could figure out Final Cut. This is Final Cut 3. So
Wow.
this is before YouTube. So I bought Final Cut for Dummies and taught myself how to edit. I made my own TV shows, made a lot of mistakes at first, trying to figure out how to do it. TV show aired all over. Next thing you know is I have one of the biggest independent hip hop shows in the world. This time it's everywhere. Every country's airing my hip hop show. So from there, one of my artists, this guy, Eddie Hustle, he won a Grammy. He did You Remind Me by Usher, Girl Talk by TLC. He's a really close friend of mine. He did a movie called Ski Trippin', and after it was done, he had a deal on the table, so we came together to work on a new movie. He introduced me to this guy, Roy, and his partner Joe. So we're going to do this movie 2007, and I wrote the script. It was a horror film. I taught myself how to write scripts. I never written before, and I wrote this horror script, and they loved it. So we're going to do this film. Eddie ended up moving, and Roy and I were kind of like, hey, we just met one time. And was like, hey,
What are we going to do now?
He's like, I'm working on this other movie called with the guys from Jackass called Living Will, that one member there. And he's like, do you want to help out with this movie? I'm like, yeah, what can I do? And he goes, well, music. We need music supervision. And all right. So I was the music supervisor. I also was associate producer because I had a comedy clip they used in that film, and helped with the casting. And that was my first film. And then from there, I've done a lot of movies. In fact, there's something I can't really announce to next week, but Roy and I have a major thing on the table we're closing out hopefully next week. Major, game-changing. So
nice.
I was hoping we could announce it today, but it's still not officially inked. It's so close to being inked. Anyway, besides that, what else? Man, I've done. Yeah,
and you did casting for the Q on Fox, Jimmy Kimmel, and the Goldbergs.
I did editing for the Goldberg, editing for Jimmy Kimmel. I casted a lot of people. I did casting for The Four, also on Fox, through Andre Harrell. But with Dancing on Air, they tried to bring it back in 2012. Now, I was never on the show. I was never on it. I had nothing to do with the original show. When they tried to bring it back in 2012, they needed some help with the editing, and that's kind of where we met. It was in 2012. And I know that Mike Nice, the owner, and his team were having some problems with some of the other people. So he came to me and said, listen, can you help us out with the show? So I re-edited the show. And as a result, Gawker.com wrote this article about us that Relativity Real ended up seeing and said, wow, look, there's this dance show in Philly still happening. So they reached out, and that's how Fuse got involved. So I was the director of Dancing on Air, and it was I was director, editor, music supervisor, post-production. And then what happened was that there was a reality show on us called Saturday Morning Fever, and they both aired on Fuse. Actually, I
remember that show.
Yeah, and there's me directing the show on Fuse. So it was
again before social media and all, the artists would go on Club MTV, American Bandstand, Soul Train, Dancing USA to perform their songs and help the teenagers who were
all the episodes on my TV networks, by the way. If you haven't, because people haven't seen those shows in years, and 20, 30 years, they're on WhoMagTV.com. You can watch them. You can watch them on my WhoMag Multimedia channel or my iFame TV channel.
Awesome.
So we have we have all the old episodes exclusively on our platforms.
So, fantastic. Yeah. So, well, I know you were recently, I think over the summer, I forget exactly when, filming with a major R&B icon. So a project you got coming up, which, we'll talk about when it's released. So excited about that and all your things you're working on and inking up. But now let's talk about this.
I didn't talk about this. I just did a movie called Silver Star that was based out of France. They call everyone.
Wow.
And the main character is the girl that played Chrissy Cunningham from Stranger Things.
Wow. So now, what's your process, quickly before we move on to the conference? What's your process when you're casting and scouting for filming and location and all that, and you're here, say, in Delaware or New Jersey, but you're going to do a film in France or Sweden or, what's that process like business-wise and logistically of being able to set all those things up in the business end of things from another country, and when you get there, everything work and not be a mess?
So I directed a movie in London called Bullied. But I've worked with companies from France, from all over. So the strategy, to me, I'm an energy person. I'm all about energy. If we always have our initial call, I'm not a money-driven person. If I'm not feeling the movie, I don't care how much you're paying me, I'm not taking it because it's not worth it to me. I love waking up every day and loving what I decide to do. And if I decide to shut down for 2-3 months to do a movie, I will. But I have to like the people. We have to be able to be on the same page. So if they're looking for locations or looking for actors or looking for something, it needs to be a conversation, not orders of what to do. And that's how you grow as a team. When everyone works together congruently, those are the projects that I work with. And if I'm directing and producing, I just don't talk to my team. I never talk down to my team because everyone is important to play the role. And if someone's discouraged or angry or doesn't want to be there, it shows. So
Right.
everyone has to be on the same page and on a positive note. And that's why I'm all about energy, because when you work with great people, great things get done. You work with good people, you're going to have an okay movie. You got to work with great people that love to be there. And that's how you get the best.
Everybody has to be passionate
My
and all
motto
of
is my motto is I know what I'm great at. I know what I'm good at. I do what I'm great. If I'm good at it, I hire someone that's great because I got to
it.
put the best
Right.
project out there possible.
It's like as a leader, you leverage your team and their strengths. And so I would imagine if you're doing something like overseas or another country, obviously at a certain point you have to physically be there. But in the lead up, it's lots of emails and conference calls, video calls, making sure everybody's on the same page and everything's dotted and crossed.
Yes, correct.
Uh, So, and now we're really excited to talk about the Play Music Conference.
Mhm.
So, this is such a big thing for Philly. This is the first music conference that's ever been here,
100%.
and it's taking place February 16th to 18th at the University of the Arts. You are the co-founder, so can you talk to us a bit about your process and evolution of deciding to create the conference and just all the great stuff that's going to be happening through the conference.
Sure. So initially last year I did something called Distro Fest. And what Distro Fest was, this initiated because again, I have 1,000 artists signed to me. And one of the number one questions I have is, hey, how do I get on these festivals? And I didn't have an answer. I kept telling them what to do, but I know it's complicated. So I decided to throw my own festival. So I threw it. In South Jersey, in East Hampton, New Jersey, by Burlington area. The township was amazing, amazing people, and I threw this festival. And we had about 2,000 people show. We had 80 artists on one stage in 10 hours. It's got to be a Guinness Book of World Records if there is one. And it went great. The only thing is, when it was over, a lot of artists kept saying, "Oh my God, Rob, that was the best time. That was the best performance you ever did. When are you doing it again?" And I'm just like, "Yo, if I do
I
it
don't
again, it's
know.
probably going to be another year." It's like, "Okay, cool. Just let us know." And I'm like, "So you guys are really going to wait for a whole year for me to do this again?" And that's where I started thinking, like,
I got
like,
something here.
so maybe let me do something different, because everyone had a great time, but I think I missed something. And I think what I missed was the educational component of it, because my artists shouldn't be asking me what's next. They should know what's next. So I had the idea of putting the conference. I know a lot of people in the industry. A lot of people call me the plug. I'm not the plug. I just know a lot of people. And I don't care sharing my contacts. So I said, let me put this conference together, bring all of my contacts. So all of my artists get to talk to them one-on-one. So now they can still perform at night, but during the daytime, they can ask all the questions they want. So now no one should be coming to me and asking me what's next. They should know they had their opportunity to talk to these people. So I was originally going to do it in Atlantic City. A friend of mine, Chris, has a building out there that we have. It's a long story, but we're working something out there. But that was the initial plan. And my friend Brian Cronin, we did
Oh, I know,
Millennium.
Brian.
Yeah, so we did Millennium. He was the guy that he was the vice president or something like that of the Millennium Music Conference.
Yeah.
So they had me come out there all the time, and Brian and I did a bunch of stuff together. I've been friends with Brian for a long time. Brian was telling me that he's thinking about doing a conference in Philly, and why don't we just team up together? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So he had a friend named Jim Lagrado. So the three of us got in a call, kicked it off. Next thing you know, Play was born. So as we started, I was working on that movie Silver Star with the girl from Stranger Things. Once we done, we just started running. And now it's the first music conference in Philly in 20 years. Everyone's excited about it because it hasn't been here in 20 years. There's nothing like this remotely close. One of the things that we said when we just agreed to do this panel was, we're not really going to bring in a bunch of, no disrespect, but a lot of local Philly industry people. We want to bring in people that artists can't get in touch with. If this
Right.
person in Philly is everywhere, That's not the kind of person we want. So I reached out to a lot of my people at Sony Records. I reached out to, we have BMI come in, we have the MLC come in, we have DPA microphones come in, we have some of the biggest booking agents from all over. We have people flying in and flying out across the country the same day.
Walt Reader's one of the speakers at Big Block Entertainment. Of course,
Walt,
recently, yeah, but recently partnered with the Black Promoters
yep,
Collective, who are just doing all kinds of groundbreaking stuff.
yep, shout
So
out
he's
Walt
going to
Reader,
be one of the speakers.
yep.
So who are some of the other speakers that people can look forward to?
There's a lot. They're all
Yeah,
on
I mean,
play.
I know there's a lot.
Right now there's 67 speakers on the website, and it should be about 7 more before we go. And
Wow.
why are there so many speakers? Because I've been to many conferences and there's never enough speakers. So to me, you have a chance. And here's the thing too, back to what I was saying, as an artist, like say you're an artist and you have a 9-to-5 job, you want to leave, but you don't want to go into the artist side because it's hard to make money in that. We are going to have people like Walt talking about how to book acts. We're going to have people talking about publishing, sync licensing. We're talking about distribution, talking about Web3, NFTs, and metaverses. Like there's all these other opportunities. As an artist, it's great to get this knowledge, but at the same time, you can see all the other ways you can make money and or have a job, have a job in the industry. And I really want to open the eyes and ears of everyone. So we do have a lot of speakers coming. I don't know how the conference was 20 years ago, but I doubt they had this many coming. And this many relevant people flying in from all over to be here. Like everyone's so excited about this. So I believe the press release is coming out today. I have to reconfirm.
Awesome.
It's coming out today. Shout out to Antoine, who's our PR for House of Talent. He's helping break our.
Longtime friend of the show. He's amazing.
I've known him since Dancing on Air. So anyway, Antoine's my homie, so I've got him on board. So we're gonna break it everywhere. We have less than 3 weeks. We're 2 weeks away. We're about 2 weeks away, and it's
so
amazing.
you're gonna have lots of speakers each day. It's a 3-day conference, and
so it's a 2-day. It's a 2-day conference. So Thursday night is our launch party at Milk Boy. 11th and Chestnut. So we kick off at Milk Boy Thursday night. That's the VIP party. You can buy the VIP pass online. It's for the speakers, the sponsors, and the VIPs. Friday and Saturday during the day from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. are the panels. And that's where all the speakers are going to be there giving out information. We also have a mentorship room where one-on-one speed mentoring sponsored by Upliftful, which is a new mentoring app. Where basically you can sign up and speak to any of the panelists for like 8 minutes. So you have a chance to schedule a one-on-one with all these speakers.
Amazing. You can pick their brain.
Absolutely. This is Friday and Saturday from 10 till 5. From 5:30 to 7:30, both days, we have our mixers. And then 8 p.m. till 1 a.m., we're going to be on South Street. We have 5 different venues on South Street, Friday night and Saturday night. All 5 venues have bands. If you're hip hop, R&B, rock, heavy metal, pop, singer songwriter, we have Dobbs, both floors. We have Reef upstairs of Reef. We have His and Hers, both nights, and we have O'Neill's, and we have Milk Boy on South Street. So they're all really across the street from each other. So you have the badge, and you just walk bar to bar to bar like you're South by Southwest. And it's going to be a whole group of people walking with the badges. So you're nice and safe. You feel comfortable.
Right.
You make new friends. Even if it's not even all industry people, there'll be so many independent artists that you could get to meet there and build with. And who knows?
Network.
I have artists flying in from Toronto to be here.
Wow.
So
and this is
so you get
whether you're in New York, Jersey, Delaware, the tri-state area, this is such a rare and unique opportunity to be around so many people in the pyramid of the music industry that you never would have the opportunity to be in the same room with,
Never.
network, educate yourself. And I love you touched on such an important part, like we're empowerment comes from educating and and taking that leap to jump and try something new and putting yourself and having the confidence to put yourself in the room with the people that you aspire to be and finding your talents. And like you said, like so many people kind of maybe, well, what do I want to do? I'm not happy. I'm kind of feel like I'm in a rut. Nobody's showing me. Well, you are opening the door for you to find yourself in different ways and have exposure, like you said, to careers that you might not know about. I mean, I think this is just such a great thing on so many levels, and really a service to the community. And I mean, you're going to have people from the Grammy boards there, like everything. Anybody like who is thinking, I want to be in the music world, or I am, but I want to go here. I mean, this is a can't miss
Yeah.
thing. It's almost like you're giving people a free college course.
That's it.
For really for the value of that ticket, you are getting so much.
And we are targeting colleges as well. We reached out to a lot of local colleges because, I mean, I'm friends with a lot of professors in music, and to
Hmm.
me, I know so this will help them out too to open up some new student possibilities because someone may say, hey, you know what, maybe I want to learn more about.
Internships.
So we actually have a panel. We call it Music Biz U, MBU, like an MBA, where it's just college professors and music talking about the importance of the education of music as well too, because no one really talks about that. We have a panel. One other cool panel we have that people don't do is we have one about sync licensing with the publishing administration and how to collect royalties, but we have one about how to get in front of music supervisors and movie directors and producers. Now, the reason we did that panel is because, of course, everybody wants their stuff in music and everybody wants to know what they're looking for. But every artist I have, or most of them, tell me, hey, Rob, by the way, I act also. Do you know any? I'm
Mm.
always down to be an extra or be in a movie. Well, I'm bringing directors on the panel. It's a music thing, but they're always looking for music. But now you have an opportunity to meet actual directors and talk to them yourself too. So there's always something that we try to do a little extra that most panels don't do, just to help our artists out to get to the next level.
And again, you have so many different categories. Like you have a panel that's all about radio and how to get your music on radio stations. Just what you're offering is just so invaluable, and empowering for all the businesses in the city as well, because it's going to bring in a lot of commerce to the city, and hopefully inspire people along the way. So it looks
We
like,
had some bad news today. Our bad news we got today was that we sold the hotel out already. So
oh,
it's bad
geez,
because
that's so sad.
everyone's trying to book rooms now, but you're too late. Everybody already
You're
booked
too
them up.
late. You missed the
So
boat.
it's good news, everyone's coming, but it's a bad news because everyone's like, hey, Rob, we're still trying to book. What happened? They're sold out. I'm telling you guys for
Awesome.
weeks, rooms. So yeah. So again, bringing right to the
Awesome.
community, we're selling out hotels, so hey.
Well, that's a good problem to have,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also so important, and I mean, I really can't praise you enough for what you're doing. Is giving back. Well, you have gifts. You're not meant to just hold it for yourself. It's giving your gifts. I say all the time, like about like connecting people and trying to make matches and this and that. It's like, look, I've been in this game for a minute. If I can't connect people, what's a good having these connects? Look, I'm not going to go into film. I'm not going to do this, but hey, this person could work with this. Was a good match. I love matching people,
Mhm.
and where they can go do things, above and beyond maybe what they were thinking about. And we're not given our gifts not to share.
Mhm.
And I think it's just so awesome that you're creating this to empower people, to educate people, kind of put people in the room and then let them do, they got to put the work in. You
Yep.
have to come prepared and
Mhm.
with vision of what you want to get out of this.
Mhm.
Don't misuse the opportunity by not being prepared and having a game plan on what you want to get out of it.
I'm telling every single one of my artists, anyone that buys tickets, go to the website, look at the speakers, see who they are. Don't go up to people and say, "Hey, what do you do?" Like, no, it's
Right.
when you have that minute, those couple of minutes, or you meet them at the bar or wherever it is. Like, be prepared, show them respect, and be prepared for what you want to ask. Like,
Yes.
no, so you can target who you want to speak to, because it may be someone,
Yes.
oh my God, I need to speak to this person. Now you could target that person, and you have not, because you're not going to have this opportunity again until we do it again next year.
Yes, you have to do your research, I do that too. If I'm going to events or things or fashion week, if I look who's there, who do I want to meet? Okay, let me get a few like tidbit buzzwords of things memorized in my head that when I'm face to face, you can kind of use that to start conversation
Yep.
and then think what you want to get out of that conversation.
Yep.
Because again, that gets right back, circling back to what you were saying about the importance of A&R and learning how to talk to people and network is such a big part. And that's also something great that you're providing is putting people in the room with, powerful and educated people and giving them the opportunity to network.
Yep. Exactly.
So I know we're going to touch base later, and you send me the press releases, and we'll kind of get our stuff together. It looks like I'm probably going to be able to do more of the evening things, but
Cool.
I'm so excited to come out and support and
Come out and
everybody.
play. Come out
Right?
and play. Playmusicconference.com. That's the
Um,
site.
yes, go get your tickets, get your itinerary together.
Yes.
Who Magazine TV, Play
Humag,
Music
Humag,
Conference.
Humag TV, Humag
Yes.
Distribution, Humag Multimedia, Shaytown Films, MusicSoups.com. Those are all my sites. Distro
Awesome.
Fest, and now we have Play Music Conference with my two partners. Correct.
Yes. And you're going to get so much value out of your ticket, learn so much, be exposed to, the best in the industry. Excited to, actually know some of the people in the panel. That's exciting, and Rob's doing so much for our city. So make sure you follow, get your tickets, but show up and be prepared.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Be prepared. Be ready.
That's right. Well, and I'm excited to see this conference grow and just so wonderful. We're going to play music conference. I think this is just the beginning of so many huge things. And I could see this happening like twice a year. I mean, it's so amazing. And so excited to have it here in our city of Philadelphia, which of course is iconic in music history.
Yep. Absolutely.
Uh, w-
We're excited
well,
to have
Rob,
you here in Philadelphia. So this is going to be something that's major. So yeah, please come out and support. Have a good time. If you're so that easier sleep, get your sleep before you come, because
that's right.
so like I'm Rob Schwartz. I do dope stuff, and we work hard, we play hard. So
That's right.
even though you may see things maybe over at 12:30, we're gonna be up to 2. We're later and up the next
We're
morning
out
super
there.
early because we work hard and we play hard, but we have fun. We love having fun, and we make sure that we bring a great positive environment wherever we go.
Yes, get your Red Bull, get your energy up.
Yeah.
And two, that's even such a blessing to have the opportunity to socialize and with icons.
Yep.
So that again is what you're providing is well beyond just a ticket price. It could be a gateway to new things, new relationships, and you just don't know where those things could go. And just being in the same room, whether the conference or the after parties,
Mhm.
is so invaluable that very few people are selfless enough to think of others and create that environment.
Yep. 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 Absolutely.
Well, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you today. And I look forward to talking more later and coming out to the conference. And everybody just go support, get your tickets, and, so much great things to come. So follow Rob on all social media. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram at the Laura Mazurek Style Empowerment Chat page. We're excited to support people doing great things in the city and artists and making a difference. And Rob, you truly are inspiring and just you're the definition of entrepreneur and finding your own lane. And that in itself is inspiring. I love what you said. Like, look, I was rutted here. I'm like, I'm not happy, but you said, how am I going to plan to get out? And making a plan, and that inspires so many people. So I thank you for being here today and wish you nothing but prosperity and all the great things that you're doing.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I had a great time, and I hope I get to see you guys play. And also, you can follow me at Whomag, WHOMAG. Everywhere is Whomag, Whomag TV, some of my other handles, but Whomag. Yeah, man.
Awesome. It's all about Whomag.
All about Whomag. Yeah.
All right. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We're going to jump out on another music break and supporting great artists and people making a difference in our community.
Awesome. Peace.